So, like I said, we have this old gun, no information. We have this new gun. The paperwork did state a ball size and a start load. Okay. So, where do we kind of go from here? So, we got to determine both what our black powder charges should be and what diameter bullet. And like I said in the other video, there's a whole range of bullets that are marked 44 caliber, but there are a whole bunch of different diameters. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is try to get a start here. We're going to go the Black Powder Digest. And we have, now this book was written and gives specific, like Navy arms and the revolvers from there. Okay, these guns were not made by Navy Arms, they were marketed by them. The 1858 Remington and a Rogers and Spencer. Okay, probably that gun, the Rogers and Spencers I have, it's the same model here. So when you look at the reloading thing, they're telling you to use a 454 ball. It's about 141 grains. And we're going to stick with round balls in this video. We're not going to get into conical bullets and none of that right now. We just want to go out and test these guns. So they're telling you, you know, the paperwork with these new ones will tell you 22 grains is the max. His load data goes up that these guns will handle 35 grains is max. Okay? Basically, 35 grains triple F with a 450, that'll be the maximum. That'll fill the chamber up. Now, interestingly enough, even though this is a popular gun at 1860, it's not here. These Remingtons also, here's another thing, this is a solid frame gun. This is a little bit stronger than these open top Colts. And same with the Rogers and Spencer. And I think the cylinders are bigger and heavier, so they can handle a 35 grain charge. Okay, but we're going to keep this just as a rule of thumb. A lot of the books now, if we go to Dixie Gun Works and look at their suggestions for their 1860s, they're telling you 22 grains of triple F with a 454 round ball and a wad. Okay, so this here with a wad, and the wad is going to play a part also in determining your charge because that takes up room in the cylinder. There's two ways to load this: powder, ball, grease, powder, wad, ball, and then you can, usually the wads are lubricated, you can grease it or you can fire it without lubricating the ball. The conical bullet will throw it all off. So, in the 44 calibers. So we know 35 is the most you're going to be able to physically put in the gun. Okay? Like especially this one. So we're going to probably look at a 20 to 25 grain charge of black powder, triple F powder. That's probably the range we'll go. Okay? And we're going to go with that. So now, what size ball? And there's some confusion because even in this book here, he says 454, but here he has this Reb Model 60 Sheriff's revolver. It says he used a 451 bullet, and it is a 44 caliber. And he says the max on this is 30 grains. Okay? So probably on this 1860 style gun, you know, 30 grains with a ball is probably going to be the maximum. We'll take this out and look at it. Alright, so let's go in, we'll take these apart, and one thing you can do with these guns when you look at them, one thing you want to look and see is on the mouth of the cylinders, okay, if there's a sharp edge or this has been deburred or has a slight, this one has a slight chamfer on it. This gun, when I got it and tried to fire it, did not. The mouths of the cylinder were sharp, okay, not chamfered. And I think this created a problem when we put our ball in. Could have been a little undersized or something. that sharp edge went and sliced off the circumference, and that allowed powder to come back in when you fired one chamber and detonate the other. So that's something we had to correct and got that done. Now I'm going to get the two of them apart, and we're going to look at them. We're going to measure them with calipers, measure the cylinder diameters, the length of the cylinders, it's the, the whole cylinder mechanism, and calculate the ball size from that. We have the two cylinders now. This is from the Remington, the newer gun, and this is from the older Colt 1860. Instructions say to use 454 diameter ball. So what I'm going to do is measure the inside diameter of these cylinders on the new gun here, and I get 445, 445, 445 thousandths. Now I'm going to measure the older gun. 447, 448, 447, 47, about 450. One of these chambers is, so you see there's an inconsistency, 448, 3 thousandths variance. This here, 445 going with a 454, it's almost 10 thousandths. I believe this should use a 451 bullet, which would be 5 thousandths, should be more than enough. This 454 with that one chamber to 4 thousandths and with that sharp edge, that's why I got the chain fire. Okay. Now we run into the next problem. We got a bag here that I have that's marked 454, and I have these old hand cast balls. They're actually 447 bullets. So I may try using them in this Colt. This here, I'm going to have to try to find 451 bullets if I have them. If not, I have to get them because 447 is way too big. It's going to be like 15, trying to crush that down there. These bullets will not fit. So now we know the bullet problem. Measuring the gun gives you a better idea. And this is more consistent. Probably they got CNC machines now where this could be done on a drill press or an old Bridgeport that was wore out, is probably why. Or the tool gets dull. The reason this would happen is the tool isn't that sharp. So the older gun head you see has this variance in there, and that can explain a lot of problems. So now let's just say in terms of powder charge and depth and that, let's take a measurement, and what I'm going to do is these chambers are concaved in. So what I'm going to do is go up against the wall, try to catch that edge, and it's hard because you slip off. And I'm going to try to get a measurement of the depth. And I'll come up with this one, 1 inch 130 thousandths. Okay. And this one here, and it's got a sharper, this is 1 inch 136 thousandths. So basically the depth of these chambers is about the same. What does that mean? Even though the diameter is off a few thousandths, like 5 thousandths or something, that will change the capacity, but it's close enough to where you're looking at the same powder charge. So trying to load this smaller cylinder with more than 30 grains of powder, it probably 30 is the max. They say 35, they'd be pushing it. So both of these guns, even though they're different models, different eras and that, the powder charge, okay, should be anywhere from 20 to 30 grains, something in there. Okay, 35 is the ultimate maximum. I really think you should stay away from it, but then again, it's up to you. But see, the reason we go with the maximum is when you go out to try this, okay, we put 20 grains in there, and either one of these cylinders with the right ball will seat far enough. If you put too much powder and the ball sticks out past the face of this, the gun will cease to function, and you can get it done in the ramming area, and then when it spins around and hits the barrel, or if you load more than one and they're protruding, you'll get to a point where now you got too much powder, the ball's protruding, the gun won't function, and you got to figure out how to unload it. So that's why, knowing your powder charges and calculating that. We're going to call these 30 grains maximum. Okay, even though the book says you can probably squeak 35 in there, 30 max. Alright, so, and also, now we have to come up with the determination on the ball. I'm going to try to find some 554s, or I will just use these 557s in here. Okay, and when you put that ball on there, you can see this one's in there, probably cut a ring. Okay, that 7,000's probably cut a ring. This one here, it's way too big at 445. It's way too big, this ball. So we got to do something else. And also, it's good, write this down so you know the diameters of your gun. And like I said, this one varies 3,000ths from chamber to chamber. So, so going larger with this is better. Alright, now we'll talk about my little speed loading and powder charges.